Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Builders of Authority podcast. We're doing a remote episode here at Adventure Unknown in Fenton, Missouri. If you're in the St. Louis area and you haven't been here, send me a message. Would love the opportunity to show you around, see the new office that we have here where we're doing both remote and in-person episodes. I can show you around. If you have been and it's been a while, send a message, come back up. We got a lot of amazing amenities that are getting added here shortly, as well as some awesome networking events. Today, I've got a guest I'm really excited about. Allan Trant is the owner of Allan Trant's exterior finish work out of Nottingham, New Hampshire. He's a third-generation carpenter, literally grew up on job sites, and today he runs one of the go-to companies in the New Hampshire Seacoast area for custom composite decks, outdoor living spaces, and home additions. Allan and I have been connected online for a little bit now, and at the end of last year, he became a client of ours. We currently partner together on his SEO, Google Business Profile, and Google paid ad campaigns. So I've got to see on the backside kind of how we've been able to work together on the marketing side. But today I'm really looking forward to hear the other side of the story. What kind of led to all the things he's doing today, understanding more about his craft and what had made him successful. He's a Trex Pro Platinum installer. His Google reviews are unreal and speak for himself. And he's really built something very, very special in a tight-knit and niche market. So, Allan, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So how's everything going, man?
We're good. We're in southern New Hampshire, kind of by the coast. We're about a half hour from the ocean, so we're about melted. All of our snow's pretty much gone. We're ready to start cranking.
Love it, man. Well, cool. If you wouldn't mind kind of kicking the episode off by just a quick introduction on who you are, kind of the company, how you guys got started, all that good stuff, and we'll take it from there.
Like you said earlier, I grew up in this. My father and I worked together for a while, and about 11 years ago, he kind of kicked me out of the nest, right? We had to get our own wings and learn how to fly. He's pretty good with that. He said if you want to be an owner with an owner's pay, you got to be an owner, not a co-owner. So it was a little rough in the beginning, but we really figured it out, and typical contractor issues in the beginning, but that's where we really kind of found our ground, right? Our foundation.
Yeah. Love it. And so you talk about, being a contractor, right? Being really good at the skill, and then there's the business owner side of it. How has that transition been? I'm sure a lot of lessons learned along the way, but what's that been like for you?
Typical in the beginning, as a contractor, you kind of just have your truck and your tools and your knowledge, but that only really took us so far. We had all the same issues everybody has that everybody talks about. You see it on the forums online every day, but it's finding that foundation and getting the base going was probably our biggest struggle. Breaking that, put your boots on and go to work only really gets to a certain point, right?
Yeah. How did you learn some of those lessons? Was it reaching out to people that became mentors? Was it coaching? Like what's kind of your, I guess, evolution of that been?
We found it to be like Audible came out. So instead of listening to music on the ride to work, I started listening to people who already walked the path I wanted to start to get onto. Mm-hmm. We found that pretty good for changing the mindset and leveling up, right? It's a comfortable life to be a contractor, blue collar. You can be comfortable, but you have to be on site every day. And that's self-employed, not a business. I've always wanted to own a business. So finding the mentors, growing up, we always had like Zig Ziglar and people like that.
Yep.
And it's just a shift between technology now has been really good for us. We can listen to contractors who have done it, like Tommy Mello,
Yep.
People like that, they've already done it and they're willing to share their experience, and that helped me level up quite a bit.
Yeah. And I think a lot of what I've seen, especially in kind of the new age of contracting, where all that information is available, you have people that have really condensed the time that it would otherwise take to learn some of these lessons. And then you have some people that are just very old school in their ways and are like, nope, I'm good. Not going to get a CRM, not going to invest in marketing, not going to do some of the things that can kind of help take me to the next level. What would you say to the people that maybe are still there, that are kind of like hard-nosed, maybe it's a little bit of its ego, but they're just like, I'm good where I'm at, but then they know that they want more, they're just scared to kind of make that leap?
It's honestly the harder part of the business. It's if you're blue collar and you grow up in it, you know how to build something, you know your craft, but you don't necessarily know the business. And that was the hardest struggle for shifting your mindset is the biggest thing. That what is the most valuable time? You like, where do you want to put your time in the day to really grow?
Yeah.
And that that was my struggle, because I like to build, I like to create, I like to see something at the end of the day be, we build a deck, we side a house, you can see it, it's tangible. But that office side is where I struggle. So that's I pulled my wife into the company, and she quit her job and works for the company full time 6 years ago now. And it's one of the best things that I did, making that commitment. That it's kind of scary, right? You leave you leave your health insurance and your 401k, and you make that leap to be an entrepreneur. And bringing the spouse into it is even more, right? Because it's 100% on us to figure it out. There's no health insurance for 160 a month, right?
Yeah. That's been, man, and that's something that's hit me hard too, is I quit my job in 2020, went full time. My wife hasn't gone back to work since we had our firstborn in 2023. And I tell you what, I mean, we're paying close to $2,000 a month right now for health insurance for three of us, partly due to me being a type 1 diabetic and I have to have a certain plan. But it's like, even the plan that I'm on, I'm still paying a ton of money in medical supplies every single month. And then it just makes you question. You're like, what in the world am I doing here?
Right.
And that's the side that I think a lot of people don't necessarily always think about, right? They're like, hey, in order to do this right, you do have to take some risks that are going to be associated with it. And it sounds like your wife coming into the business has really put you guys on another trajectory that you would have otherwise not been able to do. But obviously you have to sacrifice some things in the interim.
Right. And that sacrifice is uncomfortable, and that's everyone you listen to that's gone from like one crew, one van, one guy, right? Either garage doors or plumbers. They go from working from their home to having 20, 30, 50 installers, technicians, and they all had to be uncomfortable. And
Yep.
that's the push with the entrepreneur, right? We're just, I don't want to be comfortable, but it's uncomfortable with growth.
Yeah,
For anyone
absolutely
that's
is.
struggling with that, it's you're 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 always going to be uncomfortable, and that's what
Yeah.
we're realizing now after 11 years. Is like it never plateaus unless you want to level off your company and sustain, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
If you want to grow, you'll be uncomfortable.
Yep. 100%. So I want to talk a little bit about something that I think contractors, and I talk to contractors all day long, that they struggle with is they, in the beginning of growth, right, or just at 10 years into business, they find themselves doing every odd and end job, right? They're like, hey, business is slow, maybe there's snow on the ground or whatever, and they think that that is the answer to a lot of their problems. As somebody that has kind of a niche focus, I know you guys do a couple different things, but how did you understand really what you wanted to do? And then once you got super hyper focused on that, what has that done for the business overall versus being like, hey, you need anything and everything done, I'm your guy, versus here's what we're really, really good at?
Right. That's a good question. We growing up, my father and I, we like siding, porches, and decks, new construction. So we like labor only, not
Yep.
material purchasing, and that provided for a family of six, and we lived well, right? We didn't wanted for anything, but it's as that's as far as you can really take it until you start bringing in material yourself and things like that. Is you can't really level up from there. Like more labor. More labor is more money, right? You can grow wide, but you can't grow up if you're labor only in your industry. But
Yep. And I think again, a lot of it comes back to like the comfortable versus uncomfortableness. Is a lot of people are just like, hey, I'm good here, but deep down they're like, I think there's something more. And a lot of that sometimes comes down to just, hey, I'm gonna take the next level in business where I'm gonna focus on what you just talked about, or hey, I'm just gonna niche down. And a lot of people looking at niching down or getting hyper focused on something is leaving stuff on the table, and it absolutely is. But if you're a master of everything, you're really a master of none, and
right,
you can't really build that high level brand that a lot of people aspire to do if you're going to be the Chuck in the truck and the everything to everyone.
right. So I liked the siding, porch, and deck aspect. We just pretty much stayed outside when we build. Right, we joke around that we're outdoor cats, alley cats, right? Like we just work outside, right?
Yeah.
We like the elements. That's where I'm best at,
Yep.
and like focused on decks is just that extra layer of craftsmanship. Is I grew up doing wood siding. I'm just old enough to know how to do wood siding, right? Before it all turned to
Yeah.
vinyl in our
Yep.
area. So it went to vinyl, and it really wasn't the same skill, right? There's nothing wrong with vinyl siding, but it's not a craftsmanship, right? You just kind of cut it and put it on, right? Make sure the water doesn't get in the frame. But like the PVC for decks and railings and things like that, the extra layer of finish work is that's where I found myself settling into. And we'll still side a house or two a year if somebody that we know asked us to, or like a warm referral. But
Sure.
we really narrowed down on decks, and that's being able to advertise and focus that is really where we found I like it the most, and I sell it the best because I like it the most. And I still kind of get like sucked into other projects that we can do just fine, but like it always shows us after we finish a project that we should just stick to our lane because we've perfected that lane. To your point earlier,
Yeah. I think a lot of people, so like what you just mentioned is I know plenty of people that are like, yeah, I absolutely do not like doing whatever it is, whatever the project is. And they're like, I won't do it. And every single time I do it, I shake my head and I'm like, man, I should never do it. And then if you don't course correct, right, you're going to continue doing that. And then you're going to hate literally the business that you built because you're doing all these projects that you don't want to do. But you mentioned a little bit about advertising, which is kind of where I want to go here next is when you talk about niching down and saying, hey, we're really good at this. A lot of people, like I've seen it, right? Once you niche down and you really hone into that craft, it's easier to market, in my opinion, because you're not chasing everything. And you're known as kind of the guy or the gal that focuses on this and the company that does that. Once you've done that, how has it impacted the advertising aspect?
it's easiest explained as what people see you doing is what they'll ask you to do.
Yep.
It's like in the beginning it's scary, right? Like I tell people I can put AC units in the spring or the fall and make an hourly pay, right? Like I can do anything and pay the bills, but to really narrow it down is in the beginning it was kind of like, do I want to give up like my heritage, right? Siding, porches, and decks. Like now we advertise decks, and people are like, oh, you do porches too? And it's like, well, of course we do, right? But we don't say porches in advertising. We say decks. So it's
Yep.
narrowing it down has been great for us because it keeps the estimating in the office hours, and everything became streamlined. Once we really narrowed it down, it became so much easier for the office and the estimating and like SOPs that we've created. We don't have to have 100. We're just
Yep.
in debts now. So
Yep. Well, and that's a key point right there that you just mentioned that a lot of people don't necessarily understand, right? They're like, hey, I might take on a job that has good top line revenue, but then it creates chaos for the business. So, yeah, you think you're making X dollar on something and then something goes awry. You're not a specialist in it. You don't have the SOPs. You got to go fix the mistakes. And there's associated cost with trying to reinvent the wheel every single time that on the front end, it might look like this great revenue generator, but then it ends up costing you money and potentially being an expense and not profit. So that's something that I think a lot of people don't necessarily look at until they have to sit there and analyze the project and say, how much did I actually make on that? Now, a lot of people don't even know what they make on certain projects yet, which is also, an area of opportunity. How have you guys built like brand locally in the community, right? So you see the Google reviews. I'm sure you guys just get inundated with stuff. Hey, I saw you on Facebook. So-and-so recommended you, word of mouth, all that. What are some of the creative or just like boots on the ground things that you guys have done that have really kind of set you guys as a premier option in the marketplace?
I would say it started with when we wrapped our vehicles and trailers. And
Yep.
that 2,000, $2,500, and in the beginning, like marketing expense isn't really part of your mindset when you're, when you have the subcontractor labor mindset. You're not thinking I need to put 10, 12 grand a year into marketing. Your phone rings because you're in the industry and people know you, but you're not marketing yet. So wrapping the vehicles was big for us. We just went on a consultation 2 days ago. Somebody took a picture of my truck 2 years ago at a gas station when I was fueling up. So I need a deck now. I didn't need one 2 years ago, but I knew I would. So
Yeah.
we went and we shook hands yesterday, and we had a good interaction with that customer. It was 2 years ago. So it's compounding when everywhere you go, anything you do, when you wrap a vehicle is it becomes free marketing in a way.
Yeah.
And
Well, and you just mentioned it. I mean, it's evergreen. Somebody remembers it. Somebody takes a picture of it, puts down all those different things. It's an ever compounding thing that continuously pays off.
right. And our total flywheel is now that we're really up and running for marketing. Our Google ads is about 2 years running, and the Google business profile, things like that, is we have to get better at it. But take a picture of the job site, the street sign, the cross street, and tag yourself in it so that right, that
Yeah.
up local service ads have to pick those pictures up, and Google loves those things. So we're door knockers, Google, a little bit of Facebook just for company recognition. We don't really advertise much with Facebook. Our projects are a little too big, I feel like, for that price point.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
and like every door mailers, the
Yep.
EDMs.
Mm-hmm.
If we're doing a job, we'll circle that house with everyone that can see that house. Our project, if they can see the deck from their windows, we tag every house in that neighborhood, and they get a mailer sent to them. It's 78 cents a mailbox.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. I want to go back to something we talked about a little bit earlier where you kind of mentioned like the growth of the business, the SOPs, all the different aspects. How has it been for you as the business owner, really trying to scale the company, knowing that you're not doing every piece of the puzzle, but you know how to do a lot of the pieces of the puzzle, but you have to delegate to elevate so the company can grow?
Right. I knew about like Upwork and virtual assistants. I knew about them 5-6
Yep.
years ago, and I will advise anybody, before you buy a jet ski or a four-wheeler, hire a VA with that money instead, because then
Yep.
you could buy a fleet of four-wheelers, right? So once the company becomes a company, everything compounds. And I'm personally stubborn towards technology and things like that, right? I grew up blue collar. We work in the rain and the mud, and now it's becoming a company where I struggle with that. Is when do you start spending the money on these things, or is the payoff worth it? But now that we've been in it for 2 years, it is absolutely worth it to to relieve yourself of those duties and essentially subcontract them out to somebody, whether in-house or per diem,
Yep.
has been huge for us.
Yeah. And I think exactly what you mentioned is businesses will get a little bit of growth. They'll have a little bit of success, and then they start aimlessly spending on stuff, sometimes in the business, sometimes on personal things. And then they find themselves, though, not even being able to enjoy the things that they go do or purchase or whatever because they can't like really turn it off because the business doesn't run without them, which kind of leads to my next question is, when was it a specific aspect where you were just like, hey, I want to get through this so we can actually have a company versus kind of that solo entrepreneur type style business, self-employment? Was there a specific moment where you're just like, hey, I just can't do this anymore. I really do need to build a company, not just the job that I've created for myself?
That milestone in everyone's life, right, was the two pink lines. So 5 years ago was just about 5. She turns 4 this month.
Yep.
My daughter, but like finding out that I can no longer do 90 hours a week because of you're not, when you're in your 20s and you're working, you're focused on you. But once you get married with children and a spouse, you're no longer working and dedicated to you. You're working for your family. So I made the change 4.5 years ago.
Yeah.
I said we can't do it anymore. It's not sustainable with a family. It's okay when you're just a couple, but
Yeah.
nights and weekends are more important to be home than at a job site.
Absolutely. And that's a tough mindset shift, I think, for any high performer or somebody that's very comfortable doing that is, a lot of people are like, man, how can you work that long? And I am guilty of it still at times too, where I'm just working on something and I just go and I go and I go and I go. I don't even feel like it's work sometimes, which I'm sure you can probably resonate with that too. You're just like, man, I'm enjoying what I'm doing, but a life change like that, really understanding that you have different responsibilities and more important responsibilities does put a lot of things in perspective to kind of help shift the vision of the company to say, hey, we're going into this next layer. And I tell my team all the time, like, now that we are at 40 plus people, I'm like, this business can run without me, which is great. I'm hoping I'm not going to get hit by a bus tomorrow. But if I do, we at least have some of the measures in place to be able to go do that and kind of continue on. Because other than that, it's like, if you get sick, something happens in the family, like just life happens. It's scary, the fact that you're that involved in the business, but it's scarier what the other side looks like where the business can't run without you for a couple of days.
Right. We pressure test that a little bit because I've never really been like, I've never thought about taking vacation and time off because like you said earlier, building a deck or doing a project isn't work for me. It's what I enjoy. So I don't need a break from what I enjoy.
Yep.
But now that there's office time and things like that I don't enjoy as much, it is, and we can bring the office to the resort. So pack up the briefcase and go. And my wife's on board with it. We make a plan. It's we got to send out 2 proposals and do this many touch points before we can go enjoy the afternoon.
Yeah.
So even when we're away, we're still a couple hours a day at work. We have a project manager, a salesperson, and as far as subcontracted teams, we have 3 contractors pretty much dedicated to as much work as we can give them. So, and I have one guy that helps with logistics, trailer, all that stuff, truck and trailer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We can step away now, but 2 years ago we couldn't. 2 years ago, you were saying, you do it 2 days without me in the company, and the wheels are falling off. So that's where the SOPs came in, and we just adopted that. Yeah.
How awesome does that feel?
It's great. It's like imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
We're always like, is this us? Is this gonna work? Is this a bubble that's gonna pop, or is this our new normal? And with continued growth, it never feels like you're normal, right? It's because it's always new. But you have to look back sometimes, and it's been 3 or 4 months. You look in the rearview mirror and you see all the steps you've climbed, but in it day to day, it doesn't feel like we're actually. There's no, like, the progress isn't really visual, right?
Yeah. Well, and you touched on this earlier with some of the stuff with Audible and like listening to whether it's podcasts, books, whatever it might be, interviews, instead of listening to music. I've been a big fan of that for a couple years now as well. I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with the mindset, right? So you mentioned imposter syndrome a little bit. You mentioned multiple times like comfortable versus uncomfortable, risk taking, etc. What have you done as Allan, right, who's the business owner, but more importantly, the husband and the father, to continue to level up, right? I think a lot of people look at, hey, we're working on the business, we're doing all this stuff, but then there's the human being aspect of it, right? What are some things, some tips, some strategies you might give to an entrepreneur that's hearing this and they're like, man, I'm where Allan was two years ago, or the business still runs without, can't run without me, all that stuff. What have you done? Maybe some of the things we've already talked about. What have you done to kind of like level up your mindset to say, hey, like, I need to continue leveling up just as much as the business is leveling up as a whole?
That would be like self-reflection is the easiest way to say it, and realizing what you're not good at. I know we all know not just a customer complaint, but any failure for like insurance compliance and all those things. I like about 4 years ago when I made the decision, it was I can't do everything, right? So that's where that I would say if you're in the mode of doing the 80-90 hours and you love it, but like where are you going to be in 10 years? Or if you're truly blue collar, where are you going to be when you turn 50 and your body fails you? Because you just cannot run that amount of hours on a job site for 30 years. Everyone I know over 50 is still doing it, has new knees, new shoulders, new hips. And if you're struggling with letting go, just kind of write down or kind of see where you want to be in 10, 15, 20 years. And be realistic with yourself. Is your body going to be able to do what you're doing today to get to 15 years from now?
Yeah.
And give up what you're not good at. That's why we
huge.
have a team now, because I'm not good at, like, the virtual assistant's excellent, right? I don't know how to make a folder in my Google Drive. It's just a chaotic mess of documents, right?
Yep. That's awesome. So what are you most excited about in the future? You talked a little bit about kind of writing some of those things down and taking a look ahead. What's ahead for you? What's ahead for your company? All that good stuff.
I'd say we're like revenue driven, right? Growth follows revenue, revenue follows growth, however you want to see that.
Yep.
It is going from a like gross revenue of 1 million to 5 million to 15 to 20 to having a showroom, everything that would solidify having a design center for outdoor living, like
Love
being
it.
a place that people drive to. Like I want to go look at bedding. So, back in the day, right? Bed Bath and Beyond. I want to pick out a new comforter, right? So that's your Saturday, Friday night with the spouse.
Yeah.
So if somebody says, I'm thinking of a new deck or a new patio, I want them to say, we have to go to Allan's showroom.
Yep.
That's our trajectory. That's our 5-year plan. We want to go from where we were, just over 1 million to this year. We're going to hit 2.5, hopefully 4, but realistically 2.5 is the floor. And in 5 years, we can hit 20 million.
Yeah.
We have the foundation in place, and that was the most important. 8 years of running 80 hours a week to getting the SOPs in place, getting the team in place, and that hockey stick bell curve launch is happening.
That's amazing, man. Isn't it funny how when you finally build that foundation, how quickly all the things you wanted actually go, but it requires less of you and more of an actual system?
Right. Yeah. It's back to that imposter syndrome, right? Like, are we really running 4 towns, 4 job sites, 5 crews right now? Because 2 years ago, it was just me and 2 employees, right? But it's the foundation is the important part. And like being able to communicate to the contractors efficiently, right? Our CRM and our team, we have to continuously communicate and, quality control, things like that, because we sell quality over quantity to our customers.
Yep. Love it. Well, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy, but this was an awesome interview. And I know a lot of people, I know like even just me chatting and asking questions got my mind spinning on some things too, man. So I appreciate you coming on, man. Where can people stay connected with you, the company, learn more about everything you got going on?
We're on LinkedIn, Meta, and our website if you wanted to fill out a form, and there's a message space on there for the website. So it's allantrantexteriors.com. And Facebook, if you just type in Allan Trant's Exterior Finish Work. On Meta, you'll see us. Instagram, all the normal spots. But I'd say if you jump on Google, you'd see us. Just please don't click on the ad.
Yeah. Disclaimer, definitely don't click on the ad. No, man, well, we appreciate you, man. It's been awesome working with you guys, and looking forward to continue crushing the year with you. So thank you for your business, and I appreciate your trust in us, man.
Yeah, it's been awesome and a great partner. We're very fortunate to linked up with you.
Love it, man. Well, cool. Well, if you're listening or watching this episode, make sure to share it on social media. Subscribe to all the different, whether you're listening to this on the podcast or watching it on YouTube. Subscribe so that way you can get notified every single time we launch a new episode. Make sure to go follow Allan, see everything that they're doing with their company. Again, awesome work, great craftsmanship, and it's going to be exciting to continue to see them grow here over the next year and continue years moving forward. Remember, authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. We'll see you next week.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.